Would you allow a politician to give you a colonoscopy? Would you allow a politician to fix your broken leg? Would you allow a politician to check your prostate? Well, that answer for me would be absolutely no. So let's apply that to vaccines. Shall we? RFK Jr. is a political appointee with no medical or scientific training, and he now heads the Department of Health and Human Sacrifices, or Health and Human Services, one of the two. And we all know that he opposes vaccines. And so, when he took office, what he did is he fired his vaccine panel. And he established his own vaccine panel. And guess what? When the COVID-19 vaccine came up for review, suddenly all of them unanimously said, we're not going to recommend that. Well, there are problems with that, especially if you want to get a COVID-19 vaccine. First of all, when a vaccine is not recommended, the first thing that comes to mind are insurance companies. Yes, those profit-based industries, those job creators, those folks that deny coverage after you pay your premiums, those are the folks that are going to be able to find a way not to pay for that vaccine if you want one. And then, depending on what state you're in, you may not be able to access the vaccine if you want one. And there may be delays in getting a vaccine if you want one. Now, of course, these bozos at the HHS say that, the recommendation is that I think it's going to be a topic that you need to talk with your doctor about. So you can get the COVID-19 vaccine if you want one, but you'll have to talk to your doctor first. Okay, let me tell you about the stupidity associated with that idea. First of all is, you know how difficult it is to set an appointment with a doctor? Yeah, we can get to you maybe next week. Okay? And so what are you going to do? You're going to set up an appointment with the doctor to ask them one question. Just one question. Is the COVID-19 vaccine good for me? Should I take it? So let's see. You have now bumped off somebody that may have had a more urgent matter so that you could discuss this one question about whether you should get a COVID-19 shot. This barrier had not existed before. So, okay, and then you're also going to, as a result of this doctor visit, because they're not going to do it for free, is that, we're also going to bill you. And we're going to bill your insurance company. And then you're going to have to pay a copay. And you're going to have to take time off. So all of this moronic idea is creating yet another barrier for people to obtain a vaccine so they don't die because they want to take the vaccine, not that they're being forced to do so, that the government has created these barriers because of not science, but because of a political agenda against vaccines. Now, whether you want a vaccine or not, vaccines have micro and macro health impacts, impacting the individual as well as impacting the population, as perhaps another way of thinning the herd. That's your decision, but at the same time what this is really about is the government taking away your choices. So before you get a vaccine that had been readily available, you're going to have to go and visit your doctor, take time off work, and pay for it. Right. It's about choices and the taking away of those choices. So what is the solution? The solution is, of course, to try to schedule your next colonoscopy at your local politician's office. Now, when you call to schedule, the chances are that politician is not going to answer the phone unless you're a very big donor. And so what's going to happen is, because that politician, I'm sure, is just taking money from the job creators at the time, so they can't take your call. So you're going to probably receive the colonoscopy scheduling from an intern. And when you go in, it's likely the politician is not going to be administering the colonoscopy, but rather it's going to be the intern. So you get that going for you. And there may not be a copay. Although science is not 100% sure about anything, because that's the nature of science, there are two things that we are absolutely sure about: death and taxes. But in an uncertain world, I'd like to add a third thing that we're sure about: I do not want a politician giving me a colonoscopy, and I don't want a politician or his intern giving me a colonoscopy, and I don't want a politician interfering with my medical decision-making and interfering with that ability to do so because of some political agenda or desire to thin the herd. So whether you decide to get a vaccine or not, that's going to be your decision, and it should be your decision, not some politician's. Until next time.